Jamie Foxx and Tommy Lee Jones star in The Burial on Amazon Prime. Is it good? Let's find out right now.
Hey, wait. What's the matter? We can't split the pole. Can't split the pole, man. Come on, Doc.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Before we get started, make sure you leave a like on this video. It helps a lot. But I'm going to read a quick plot description of The Burial on Google. It follows Willie E. Gary, an unconventional lawyer, as he helps Jeremiah Joseph O'Keefe, a funeral home owner with financial troubles, save his family business from a corporate behemoth. So I will say, before this movie came out, I didn't really know too much about Willie E. Gary as like this big lawyer, big behemoth. Now I do know that he's like nicknamed the Giant Killer because he helps people, like the David/Goliath kind of story. The small take down the big. You know, I really do like that kind of story, and I was fascinated that this is basically a true story. He's a real guy, so I'm happy to say that he's a very cool guy. You know, I looked him up a little bit, and you know, he stands up for the right people, so I really like that about him. And I was kind of worried about this movie going into it because I didn't see a lot of marketing for this one. You know, I saw a trailer like 1 week ago, and it just came out this week, so I only saw a trailer a week before I watched the movie. And I will say that Amazon Prime usually doesn't have that bad of marketing, but this marketing has been pretty bad for this movie because I haven't seen hardly any marketing on like YouTube ads where I usually see marketing for movies, or like when I'm watching sports I usually see big marketing. So I will say that Amazon needs to get a little bit better at marketing this movie because this movie is really good, and I feel like a lot of people need to go seek it out on Amazon because usually Netflix is the one that has bad marketing. But I've been thinking that Amazon has been falling behind too, because I think they're only trying to market their shows at the moment with Gen V. So I think they should try to market their original movies like this one, because this is a really good true story, and I feel like people would like it. You know, it's a crowd-pleasing movie. You have these really good you know, courtroom dramas about true people, and you know, those always work for audiences. And let's get to the good before I get to the bad, because I always want to start with the good when I talk about movies. And I will say, as I said, it's based off a true story. I always find that to be a really good part of a movie. Unless you make a movie really terrible, I will say the true story aspect of a movie is awesome, because I love these true stories about these real people, and you get to hear about their stories not just from writing but from like a video format, and you get to see actors kind of like bring these people to life that you wouldn't see if you're like, you know, if this movie, like if you watch this movie in like 30 years, you know, you would never known about this, and I never really known about this lawyer, so I was cool that a movie gets made about them. That's why I really do like true stories, unless they're really terrible, as I said. And this one's not terrible. It's really good. And let's get to the cast. Jamie Foxx is the main star here. Jamie Foxx has been having a really interesting year so far. He was in They Clone Tyrone, which was a Netflix original. Really underrated movie. One of the really, really good movies on Netflix this year. But, you know, he was also in Strays, one of the worst movies of the year, I'd say. So that's why it's saying he's having an interesting year. But I will say this is one of Jamie Foxx's best performances in probably the, like, I don't know, the last like 3 years, 4 years, I would say. You know, I think that this is a big performance from him. You know, I've seen some people saying this is like an Oscar player for him, like awards wise, but I don't think so. You know, I don't think he's going to get nominated for an Oscar for this. If he did next year, I would be so surprised. It would be probably one of the most surprising moments. But I don't think it's like that big a performance, I would say, that big, powerful of a performance. I mean, it is powerful at times, but it's not really the whole movie, you know, and I don't really see this whole movie as being an Oscar player, so I don't see him being nominated for this, but I will say it's a really great performance. Tommy Lee Jones is also kind of like a big supporting actor. I don't really know if I would say it's two leads. Say Tommy Lee Jones is more of a supporting character, and I haven't seen Tommy Lee Jones in a long time in a movie. I feel like he just pops up out of nowhere, but he also brings a good performance. You know, Tommy Lee Jones doesn't really bring in bad performances. Alan Ruck is also in this. He's from Succession. I always love to see those Succession actors at the show-ins show up in a movie. You know, he's not really in this for a long time. It's kind of a big, small role for him, so I would like to see his role be a little bit bigger. You know, I think that he's great in Succession, but I'd like to see, you know, him in more movies like everyone else from that show. And Mamadou Athie is also in this. He was in Elemental as Wade. I just want to shout him out because Elemental was a really damn great Pixar film this year that not a lot of people saw in theaters, but people are finally discovering it. But Athie has a pretty small role here, kind of like Ruck. You know, I just shout them out because they're pretty good supporting performances, and I do like to see them both in movies, so I'd say the performances are really good. Everyone in the cast is pretty good, but Jamie Foxx is basically the leader of this movie, so I really thought his performance was really great. And I will say the courtroom scenes, even though there aren't too many of the courtroom scenes, I wish there was more of them. They're pretty good. Jamie Foxx is really bringing some power in those scenes, so I really like that. And I will say the ending is really good. You get that happy ending, of course, in this kind of story. And then at the end, you get some text of what happened after. I always love true stories because of that. You get to see what happened after. It's usually good stuff that happened after, but sometimes bad stuff. But you get to hear what comes up like in the next years of this story. So I'm always happy to see that. And let's get to the bad of this movie. There's not really too much bad, I would say. I will say it's decently slow at times. The pace is a little off. This movie is about 2 hours and 12 minutes. I do like to talk about runtime because I feel like it's a major player in how people feel about movies. It's basically a major player about how I feel about movies that I watch. And I will say this one dragged for a little bit. It's a little too long. I will say it's about 20 minutes too long. I feel like this one could have been like an hour 45, an hour 50, and it could have worked the same way. That's why I think it dragged a little bit at the end and a little bit at the beginning of the movie. So just go into it. It's a little bit of a slow movie, but I feel like it is worth it. And I will say the script was a little weak at times. I like the courtroom scenes, but beyond that, I feel like maybe the script needed a little bit more work, but I will say the script is decent. I don't think it's a great script at times. And the final bad point, it's not really a big bad point. The energy felt off at times, I'd say. It felt kind of different. Kind of like there's a lot of funny moments in some parts, and then they're trying to go for a full drama at other points. I feel like it just needed to find that real place for it, the real energy that they want to find for it. But that's not really a big point. Sometimes these movies feel like that. But overall, I feel like The Burial was a really good Amazon Prime original film. Sometimes Amazon Prime fails with their original films, but I think they've been having a pretty good year so far. This one's a big crowd pleaser. I feel like it's a pretty cool true story that a lot of people need to find out about. So I really liked it a lot. I'm going to give The Burial a 7 out of 10. I hope you guys look for this one on Amazon Prime because the marketing, as I said, has been pretty weak for this one. But I feel like a lot of people will enjoy this true story. So if you guys like this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. If you have seen the movie, comment your thoughts down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.